Hashtag Trending would like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers a complete networking stack, wired, wireless, and cellular, in one integrated solution that's built for performance and scale. You can find them at meter.com/HTT. Gemini 3.0 launches with a unified multimodal engine and new benchmark highs. Sam Altman warns staff about Google's rise as Gemini 3.0 reshapes the AI race. Satya Nadella says Microsoft needs to totally reinvent its business model for the new world of agentic AI. And Google says, good job on Gemini. Now, let's get 1,000 times increase in computing power without increasing costs. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. Google has released Gemini 3.0, and even after weeks of rumors, the new model arrived with capabilities that exceeded expectations and forced the industry to sit up and take notice. The biggest shift is architectural. Instead of relying on separate systems for text, images, audio, and video, Gemini 3.0 was trained across all of them at once. That unified approach lets it reason across different types of information in ways older hybrid models struggle to match. The benchmark results reflect that change. Humanity's Last Exam is one of the newer tests designed to evaluate models on the kinds of complex, expert-level reasoning normally reserved for human specialists. Not short answers, but multi-step problem solving. Gemini 3.0 reached 38%. Now that nearly doubles the previous version and opens an 11-point lead over GPT 5.1. On GPQA Diamond, a scientific reasoning benchmark, it hit 92%, about 4 points ahead of GPT 5.1. And on ArcAGI 2, which measures abstract, nonverbal problem solving and generalization, Gemini posted 31%, almost double GPT 5.1's approximate 18%. The coding tests show a similar pattern. On Live Code Bench Pro, which measures the ability to generate new algorithms and solve programming problems from scratch, Gemini scored 2,439 ELO. Well, now whether that 200 ELO ahead of GPT 5.1 is major depends on the task. But in competitive programming, it represents a meaningful gap in algorithmic intuition. On SWE Bench Verified, which tests a model's ability to fix bugs in large, real-world open-source projects, Gemini reached 76%, a clear jump up from the previous version, and now it sits essentially on par with the current leader, Claude 4.5, at roughly 77%. Creative tools also took a big step forward. The ever-popular Nano Banana was already well-regarded for its style and ease of use, but the new version adds a feature called reference seeds that finally delivers real character consistency across images, a long-standing pain point in generative art. VO 3.1 brings similar control to video, letting creators anchor scenes and characters by supplying multiple reference images so that the output holds style and identity without drifting. What ties all of this together, though, is a single multimodal engine. Because every mode of input, video, audio, text, PDFs, and more, runs through the same interface, users don't have to switch tools or lose context. The model can simply see and reason across everything at once. That integrated design and the results, more than any individual score, may be the part competitors find hardest to match. We talked through all of this on a special episode of our weekend edition with our Project Synapse panel, and if you want the full reaction, it may be worth a listen. But the consensus was clear, and it mirrors what most of the tech media is saying. If there were any doubts about Google falling behind OpenAI or anyone else, Gemini 3.0 has put them to rest. Google is still a formidable competitor, and when it hits the mark, it can take a commanding lead. Gemini 3.0 hasn't just moved the market. It's triggered a visible response from the companies that compete most directly with Google. One sign came from OpenAI. Before Gemini launched, Sam Altman had already sent an internal memo to staff acknowledging that Google's advances could create some temporary economic headwinds for our company. The memo took on new weight once Gemini 3.0 was released and widely described as Google's most capable model to date. Altman's note urged employees not to be distracted by comparisons, emphasizing that progress in this sector comes in waves and that every major player will have moments in the lead and moments of catch-up. He also reassured his team that OpenAI is catching up fast and expects to emerge as the leader in the AI race. And in one candid passage, he wrote, "It sucks that we have to do so many hard things at the same time, being the leading research lab, the best AI infrastructure company, and the best AI platform product company. But such is our lot in life. And I wouldn't trade positions with any other company." It was a rare, direct acknowledgement of the internal pressure created by Google's rapid progress. The broader reaction across the industry reflects the same recalibration. Analysts have noted that Google's shift to a unified, multimodal engine forces everyone, OpenAI included, to rethink their priorities and their design. Instead of incremental upgrades, the pressure now shifts towards deeper changes in model design, scaling strategies, and integration with tools and agents. In a year defined by tight races and fast follow strategies, Gemini 3.0 appears to have reset the pace. Altman closed his memo by assuring staff that OpenAI has built enough strength as a company to weather great models shipping elsewhere, and that keeping most of the research organization focused on really getting to superintelligence is critically important. Coming from OpenAI's CEO on the eve of Google's biggest model release in years, it shows just how seriously the industry is taking Gemini 3.0. And at Microsoft, Satya Nadella is making it clear that the age of AI requires nothing less than a total reinvention of Microsoft and its business model. In a company-wide memo, he told employees the company must rapidly rethink its approach to match the scale of the platform shift underway. And to lead that shift, Nadella has brought back one of the most disruptive and controversial voices from Microsoft's cloud transformation, Rolf Harms, the strategist whose controversial 2010 white paper argued that enterprises would embrace large-scale cloud services long before most inside the company believed it. Harms's return signals that Nadella isn't treating this moment as incremental. During the cloud era, Harms was criticized internally for throwing bombshells into their org, to which he famously replied, "They're already there. I'm just helping you find them." His argument ultimately won, and it powered the cloud applications and Azure's rise that helped Microsoft reclaim ground against Amazon and Google. Now he returns to work alongside Cloud Plus AI chief Scott Guthrie, advising top executives on how to adapt to AI's new economics across infrastructure, platform technology, and applications. The urgency of this move comes through in Nadella's own language. In his July 2025 letter to employees, he acknowledged the uncertainty and seeming incongruence of a company thriving by traditional metrics while undergoing layoffs, calling it the enigma of success in an industry that has no franchise value. He warned that some of the biggest businesses we've built might not be as relevant going forward, and reframed Microsoft's mission from running a software factory to becoming an intelligence engine that lets people and organizations build their own tools. It points to an agentic Microsoft, one built around AI systems that plan, execute, and coordinate work. And the emotional core sits in the idea he reserved for employees at a recent town hall. Nadella said, He's haunted by the fate of Digital Equipment Corporation, a company that once led the computing world but collapsed after missing a platform shift. By bringing back Harms, a leader who once forced Microsoft to confront uncomfortable truths, Nadella is signaling that avoiding DEC's fate will require the same kind of radical reinvention that saved Microsoft during the cloud era. Only this time, the stakes are even higher. And if anyone thought Google was going to sit back and let the others catch up, they are sorely mistaken. According to an internal presentation reported by Ars Technica, Google executives told employees the company must double its AI serving capacity every 6 months and reach something close to a 1,000-fold increase over the next 4 to 5 years. It's an extraordinary signal of how fast Google plans to move. The presentation, delivered by Google Cloud Vice President Amin Vadet, laid out the scale of the challenge. One slide read, "Now we must double every 6 months, the next 1,000 times in 4 to 5 years." Vadet also highlighted that Google wants to be more reliable, more performant, and more scalable than what's available anywhere else. Meaning this isn't just about building more data centers, it's about out-engineering the rest of the industry at every layer, from silicon to software. That doubling every 6 months over multiple years compounds into something enormous, enough to reshape costs, speed, and availability across Google's entire AI stack. And when a company already operating at Google scale starts talking about a 1,000 times leap, it means the competitive landscape isn't just shifting, it's going warp speed. Here's the line that stood out to me. I had to read it twice and go back and read it again. Google is talking about a 1,000-fold increase in computing power. If the first 3 stories today showed how far ahead Gemini 3.0 is today, this one shows how far Google intends to stretch that lead tomorrow. Everybody else, better up your game. And that's our show. If you missed our full show on the weekend, it might be worth checking out to get the group's feedback. And we'd always like to have your feedback. You can reach me at technewsday.ca or .com, take your pick. Just use the Contact Us tab. And once again, we'd like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers full-stack networking infrastructure, wired, wireless, and cellular to leading enterprises. Working with their partners, Meter designs, deploys, and manages everything required to get performant, reliable, and secure connectivity in a space. They design the hardware, the firmware, they build the software, they manage deployments, and they run support. It's a single integrated solution that scales from branch offices, warehouses, all the way to large campuses and even up to data centers. Book a demo now at meter.com/HTT. That's meter.com/HTT. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a marvelous Monday.